Welcome to Inspired Living with Cynthia, your weekly dose of purpose, passion, and perspective. This is the space where real conversations meet real inspiration, where we uncover the tools, stories, and insights that help you live boldly, think clearly, and walk confidently into the life you were created for. So settle in, open your heart, and get ready to be uplifted, challenged, and inspired. This is Inspired Living with Cynthia.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight on Inspired Living. I have a very special guest with me today, one that really needs no introduction to the Polk County area or even the national stage. It is my great pleasure to have with me tonight Saritha Tinsley.
Thank you. Good evening. How are you?
And well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me. Um, by way of introduction, as I said, she really doesn't need one, but I'm going to share a little bit because it's so special. Mrs. Tinsley has been a trailblazer and an overachiever her entire life. Her background includes being the first African American female to graduate from Kentucky Wesley College and being one of the first Black female general managers in the radio industry. Um, Saritha was not only a first in many ways, she was a top achiever as well. An entrepreneur, civic leader, mother, and wife. Mrs. Tinsley's commitment to excellence has always been her calling card. She is the co founder of Chatham Lakes Achievers, Inc., an achievement center devoted to empowering youth through mentoring, leadership, and life skills training, where she serves as the executive director. She is the national treasurer of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women Incorporated, a charter member of the Polk County, Florida chapter. She is a trustee at the First Missionary Baptist Church in Winter Haven. Mrs. Tinsley's community service and progressive leadership has earned her numerous honors, recognition, and media coverage. She's a recipient of two honorary doctorate degrees, Doctor of Humanities from Kentucky Wesley College and a Doctor of Business Administration from Weber International University. A servant leader. Her commitment to service is accredited to the biblical principle, to whom much is given, much is required. Mrs. Tinsley is the CFO and owner of several family businesses, Pingio Inc., Incorporated, KFC, Tinsley Family Concessions Incorporated, airport concessions in Miami, Tampa, and Louisville, Kentucky. So that's who we have with us tonight, and we're very excited to get into the conversation about inspired living. So we will begin. Our first question for Mrs. Tinsley is, what does inspired living mean to you?
Thank you so much, Cynthia Downing, and thank you for having me. It is a great honor. Inspired living. Basically, for me, inspired living is living out your purpose. And it's hard to know what your purpose is, but if you are intentional about trying to find out what you are here put on this earth to do,
Right.
then you look to God for the guidance and let him order your steps. That's really hard too, because so many things get in your way.
Yeah.
But for me, inspired living is to let God order my steps and to try to keep my motives pure.
Excellent. Yes, ma'am. Take us back to the beginning. What was a dream you had as a child that still resonates with you today?
Now, I told you already that I never was a child. As a child, I really never was a child. And my mother always told me that. I always had thoughts of what I was supposed to be doing or what I wanted to do or what I felt I was led to do. Um, as it's interesting. Even as a child, I always in the neighborhood got other children around and took them to plays and created plays and wrote plays and did things at church. And so I was always uh, teaching. I was always empowering. And I think that what I always wanted to do was to really be a missionary and
Right.
lead my people. And that leads me into, I know you're going to ask another question later on about what did I do with that and how did I do that? I went to Africa and thought
Oh,
that was
wow.
what I was supposed to do. But when I went to Africa, I realized that Black folk needed us more here in America because Africans, they knew more about us than we knew about ourselves.
Right.
So that led me to know that my purpose was more here with young people than it was trying to go overseas and do things with our people.
Okay. Um, and that's very, very interesting that you would go to Africa and just say, and then realize that your purpose was more here with our youth. What was an early source of inspiration in your life, and what did you learn from them, or who was the early source?
My mother
Okay.
uh, and my father, both. Uh, my mother and I, they were divorced. Okay. Uh, and I lived with my mother and my stepfather. And my mother was just straightforward, no nonsense, uh, tell it like it is, and take no enemies, no prisoners. Period. So the lady was just, and she. So I watched her, and I watched her give. She was a social worker, and she gave and gave and gave. So much so to me and my brother really never had Christmas. And that's where Clothe the Child, she did Clothe the Child. And on Christmas morning, we had to get up in the morning. We couldn't have Christmas. Before we would take the kids that were underserved to shop. She had a big store that would open up. She had volunteers, social work volunteers, and we literally would pick up children and take them to shop. So I've done that here in Polk County a couple of times, but that's all I knew. That was, and then my father was he owned a radio station, and his editorials were just powerful. He took no prisoners. I mean, he told the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Every morning when we signed on the radio station and signed off the radio station, it was always the Black National Anthem that was played. So that's all I know. I mean, that's how I was raised, and the two of them kind of they did what they did. They didn't talk it; they lived it,
Oh,
and
wow.
that's kind of what I learned. They were my role models in this path I've taken.
Well, we can certainly see where you got your heart of service and your desire to do well and help others. So, what is the core value that drives every decision you make?
Being authentic.
Mm,
Um, and a lot of people don't like that. I get criticized because and that's okay. Sometimes it hurts when you get criticized, and I'm human. But I try to be authentic. Sometimes I don't have tact sometimes, and that's not always good. So I'm a work in progress every day, all day, every day, all day. That's critical because I have people around me that say, "Now you shouldn't have said that way," and I'm blessed to have those people around me.
right.
Uh, the core value is to not to think that I'm the brightest star in the room, but to be able to get some light from the greatest star in the room, and to shed whatever light I have and not let anybody dim my light.
Wow, excellent. Because you would, I think one of the hardest things for people to do is realize that they're still a work in progress.
Always,
No
always.
matter the age, no matter the accomplishments, we're all still just a work in
Yeah,
progress.
yeah.
Okay. Now that kind of brings us to the crossroads. Every inspiring journey, which truly yours is, has its valleys.
Mm.
Could you share a moment of significant challenge or time that you felt truly stuck?
Which one?
Oh,
There were a lot. There were a lot. Um, First of all, there's real lessons to be learned in the valley.
hmm.
Real lessons. Um, One that I was stuck. There were quite a few. Um, I guess the main one, or one of the ones, is when I I was an educator before, back in the day, years ago, and I taught school. I taught fifth grade, But remember, I said I went to Africa. I went to Africa because I wanted to help our people. I wanted to work with Black children, Black youth. And I stayed there for a whole summer to learn. That was the first time I was ever on a plane. First time I flew from home. My mother was petrified. She didn't want me to go. And I left home. I was a teenager right after I graduated. Left home and went. Didn't call home. She was a nervous wreck. And I got back, and guess what? They gave me a classroom with all white children.
Mm.
And I bring this up because sometimes as we think what our purpose doesn't have color. And that taught me
Yes,
something. And
yes.
I taught 3 years and I had and what I learned from that is that I was able to teach those children how to understand how the color doesn't matter. I taught them education, but I brought out of them and taught them about us and us about them. And it broadened my scope of where I was. For instance, at Black History Month, what we would do is I would give them assignments to talk to prominent Black people in the community so that that would broaden their scope. And so that was interesting because as I came to Polk County and did the things that I did, I was put in a situation where I was around uh, on boards, and I was the only person that had any
Mm.
melanonin. So it broadens your hosts, and so those decisions, and when we came, people said we could put you out of business. This was a very challenging time when we came to Polk County, and from a racial standpoint, and there was a fear. How do you survive in this kind of environment? Because people were, I mean, literally, I mean, you just can't imagine what was said. We've had people that would come in and say that we had too many Black people working in our restaurants. And
I
are
can
you know,
imagine. I can
yeah.
imagine.
And at that point, we had to determine how do you, what do you do? How do you survive? Because we didn't look at color. We just looked at talent and we looked at who we were supposed to help and what we were supposed to do. And so what we did, and we made a conscientious decision. I did as well. I I worked hard. I was in the restaurant every day, let people see that I was going to work every day, do what I had to do, and not focus on what people were saying.
Saying,
That was
right.
hard. That was hard because you think, and sometimes our own were
Are
just
the
as critical.
mm,
So, and walking in your purpose, walking in your inspiration, walking it is not easy. And you look at the times that are happening now and you say, well, are you fearful? And some of us are fearful and we should be somewhat fearful, but we can't be fearful either. We have to
right.
be strong enough to know that wherever our place is, whatever we can do, everybody can't march, everybody can't speak up, everybody can't be on a board, but whatever you can do, we've got to do it. So I go back to that, and I know that it may be too much of what I said, but I think that that is important in these times as it was in those times.
Yes, ma'am. Exactly. You went through several of the questions, so that I don't have to ask them, which is perfect. But that just on a personal note, I remember coming from college, not with a degree, but with a baby, and getting my first management opportunity with Pengeo Inc.
Yeah.
And you guys instilled in us a challenge for excellence. And
Hmm.
it wasn't based on skin color, it was truly based on talent. And
Yeah.
because of some of the things that I learned, um, I was able to be the only Black, the only female, the youngest district manager in my career. And so
Wow.
being in the room and just the things that I learned from you were critical to my life. So thank you for that.
And thank you because yeah, and but we learn together.
Yeah,
We and so that goes back to the inspiration we were talking about. It's not about what you give or what I give, it's what we give.
right. Yeah, we have to lean on each other
Yeah.
and learn from each other. So that was so critical to just teaching and developing others, I tell you. And you talked about um, the fear of failure, and you talked about how you navigated through that, which is challenging for so many people because I can only imagine the conversations of someone telling you they're going to take your livelihood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. That
And
and you know what? Yeah, you're right. You're right. It is. And but you have to keep on going, and you have to keep on. But our family structure,
mhm,
and not only the four people that lived in our home, but the people that we were surrounded with that gave us strength. And very honestly, and you brought up Pingeo Inc. Uh, in fact, I was in the restaurant the other day and that's not, we sold the restaurant, but I would love and to just have everyone that we've ever worked with just get back together and share where you all are, where everyone is, because I just get chill bumps now when I think about it. It was just a family of families.
there it was. It
A
really
family,
was.
yeah, yeah.
You would.
So
I don't think you could get all the lives that you touched. I don't think you could get them all together. It would have to be a big venue. Let's just put it that way. Because I bump into people, uh, and not that they just say, I work for them, but they say they taught me so much,
yeah,
and it's just so beautiful to hear the impact that your family has had in this community, and not just African American community, not just the Black community. Your impact was community wide, which
thank you.
was very special.
It goes back to you all. You all kept us. I mean, you kept us. You kept. I mean, people don't understand. They'll say, well, uh, our living, and people didn't understand this. Our livelihood depended on teenagers. Think about that.
Yes, yes.
Think about that. And sometimes we look and think that we're all that. No, you all were all that. You all taught us so much. And even today, and in the businesses that we have, yes, we've expanded. Yes, we're doing a lot of things, but every day we learn from the people that we work with because they're the ones that make us better. They're the ones that keep us driven to do what we need to do. Um, it's give and take, and it's not about us. And I tell people every day, they'll say, well, how did you come up with that idea? I said, I don't know. God gave it to me. I don't move until God says move. I really
Amen.
don't. I don't move until he says move. But I
Well,
have one bad thing that's really bad about me. I'm gonna tell you this because everybody that knows me knows it. I do cuss sometimes. And I'm sure that in the restaurant sometimes you'd heard me say those words. So, I'm a work in progress.
yes, ma'am. As I said, we all are. We all are. Just to close out that segment, what is there's a was there, I should say, a bad piece of advice that you received, and as you look back on it, you're glad that you ignored
Don't go, don't do that, don't take that risk. And I'm so glad I didn't ignore it.
it?
Uh, so glad, yeah, because
Wow.
we sold everything to come to Polk County, and they said, "Oh, don't do that, don't do that." No, no, mm-mm. We sold our house, sold our car, rented a van, and lived in the hotel.
Oh, wow.
And and a lot of people don't know that. Yeah, we lived in a hotel when we first came here, and built that restaurant. Yeah,
Wow. So that definitely, you had to navigate the fear of failure
Yep.
and the fear of the unknown to do that for sure.
Definitely, definitely. And we honestly, we've had some failures. I mean, there were days, some days you didn't know if you're gonna make payroll. Uh, we have been in some businesses that we had to bankrupt. So the journey that you're on, I mean, we built this, we built the restaurant up at I-4, and within a year, because we thought it was going to be successful, in a year, the park across the street
Closed.
closed down. So, but yeah, so life happens and you
Mhm.
pivot. The restaurant burned down, and we had to sell chicken out of a van. So you just can't give up. You just have to keep on going, and it's not easy. But you learn the lesson from the valley. But don't stay in the valley too long.
Don't stay there. No, ma'am. Don't stay there. All right. So you've actually answered my next question, which was what was a small step that you took to pull yourself out of the challenging times or out of the valley, and you just said it. That, just don't stay there.
Don't
You
stay
you,
there.
you got to
Don't.
find your way up.
And you've got to have people around you that help pull you up.
Yes. Yes.
Not push you down, but pull you up. When they see you that you're down there too long, they say, "Come on now, isn't there's time out for that?"
Yeah.
Put
Time
that
out.
thing on. Yes, time out. And I've been blessed to have some people that do that for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so critical, and that's also another thing that we learned is to have the right people around you.
Mhm.
Hire the right employees, have the right managers, have your people that you can count on
Right.
there. Yeah, so that's so important. Is there a specific habit, practice, a mind shift that was absolutely crucial to your growth?
Mm. Um, all my life, my mother always said, "To thine own self be true." I
Mm.
never knew what that meant. I had no clue, no clue, and still trying to learn what it means.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously. And the other day, and I'm 77 years old, so so you never get too old to learn. And my brother called me, and he says, "I want you to come speak, and the topic is going to be to thine own self be true." And the first thing I said was to him was, "I'm not so sure I know if I'm doing that to my doing that."
Right.
And it was a wake up call because we think we got it all together.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
think we're doing what we need to do. Uh, but I had to ask myself, am I truly being true to myself? So that was a wake up call just last week to say it's some things you need to do differently. Uh, I need to take better care of myself. Women tend to take care of everybody else.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that was a wake up call just a week ago at 77 years old. And
Wow.
and I think and I heard it 55 years ago, but I just woke up to that last week.
Wow. To thy own self be true. Yeah, that's a yeah, that's really something to think about because you have to yeah. I
Mhm.
don't I don't know if I know, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, you spend your time trying to, be all that for other people, but are you true to yourself?
Right. Yeah. That's an excellent question. Um, let's talk about the now.
Mhm.
Let's talk about the now. What does the first hour of your day look like? How do you set the tone for an inspired day?
Okay. I wake up. I usually just kind of lay there and just, bask in the thankfulness that I woke up and remember
Mm,
my name. Uh, and I'm very serious about that I really remembered my name and can actually get up out of bed. I'm so
right.
thankful for that. Then when I look in the mirror and I know who I am, I'm so thankful for that. Then meditate. There's, a certain, my husband and I, he reads it, and there's a meditation time. And rather than listening to it, we've decided reading it, hearing it, coming out of the mouth is so much better. Uh, and then I just get up and go and just, ready to do what I do. But that's usually the pattern. I like quiet. I don't want music. I don't want all of that in the morning. It's just distracting to me.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, the meditation and the quiet time, just to just thank God that I'm still here.
Right. Yes, ma'am. Because the noise, as I call it, because I could drive with no radio for a
Yeah,
while. I could just, it's just,
yeah,
I need that solace
yeah.
most of the time. Okay, how do you handle days when your motivation is low? How do you handle off days to being inspired?
In here in my office, I have Alexa, and I have Alexa that always is playing gospel music.
Mm.
Um, and people will say, "You just cussed," and there's gospel music going. I said, "But God knows me; He understands. You might not, but He does." Uh, so that's yeah, that's pretty much it. And I kind of go to myself. In fact, I just said that to Alexis, and she just started playing in the background. I hear her playing the music now. But yeah, I just take the time to try to get out of people's way. And here at the office, if I'm at the office, I have people that have been with me so long, they'll say, "Now, I think you might need to go sit in there and rest for a minute. It looks like you're getting ready to, that it's hard on you." And they will protect that part of me.
Hmm.
At
Hmm.
home, the same thing. If I'm in meetings, those people that have been around me, they know. It's a joke in some of our meetings. They will say, "I've got my vitamin E pill here for you." You know, I mean, because you've I can't stress enough, you've got to have some angels.
Right.
And then my baby girl, Penny, she passed away 5 years ago. And she constantly reminds me of that, and so does my mother. They speak to me. They come and,
Mm.
pat me on my hand and let me know, yeah,
It's time. It's time.
it's time.
Take take a chill pill,
Yeah,
as they
yeah,
say.
yeah.
Okay. Wow. Yes. Um, what is a book, poem, or quote that you return to time and time again for inspiration?
Psalms 46:10. Be still and know that
Mm,
I'm God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still
just
and
be
know that
still.
I am God. And then James 1:2. Consider it joy for all trials and tribulations.
Wow.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah, those
because
two. I got to
sometimes we think those are bad things. No, consider it joy.
consider it joy. I got to write both of those down. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Yeah, because I can only imagine. My mom talks about it from time to time, losing a child, but you have handled it with so much grace, and as you said, you continue to feel her spirit as well as your
Mhm.
mother's spirit. So that's just remarkable.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you define success for yourself today, and has that definition changed over time?
That's an interesting question. I don't really know what success is.
Mm,
Um, I never have tried to define it, um, because I'm never satisfied.
okay.
Um, it's interesting you asked me that question because about 35 years ago, when I was in radio, maybe before 35, about 50 years ago, I was interviewed and asked that same question, and I didn't know what it meant. And they thought I was successful. And I said, I can't tell you what it means. And they thought I was successful, but I didn't know what it meant. To me, if I would define it, I, to me, success means that I am living out my purpose. And that means, am I doing what I'm supposed to do, that I was led to do, uh, as far as mentoring and empowering other people? Uh, and I'm going to tell you why I say that, because as I looked at my daughter's life, and you don't question God, but you think, well, she left so early age, but I watched her while she struggled through the last 8 years of her life in pain, and she was living out her purpose. She was changing nurses' lives, helping them to see God in a different way, and she was laying there in pain. And the only way that I could live with her not being with us is that she lived out her purpose. And it was such a lesson to us in my family's life to watch that happen. And so success and is living out your purpose. And so every day, uh, that's what drives me.
Live out your purpose. Yes, ma'am. I can only imagine. I can, well, actually, I can, um, because she had a very gentle spirit, and I can just imagine her leading people to God while she's suffering, but
Right. Yeah.
yet she wants them to see the light. Wow, it's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing with us. We're going to do some rapid fire questions that really don't have nothing to do with nothing. But just
Don't
to
get
help.
me in trouble. Don't get me in trouble, Miss Downing. Yeah, you know I call you Miss Downing all your life. Even when you were 16, I called you Miss Downing.
Yeah.
Get me in trouble now.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. It's just that so that they can just get to know you a little better.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Um, what is a small thing that brings you immense joy?
Um, Eating drumsticks before I go to bed. Not drumstick chicken, drumsticks ice cream. Sitting there in the chair doing nothing and eating some ice cream. And that's not
Okay.
nobody.
Okay. All right. What's the best advice that you've ever received in 5 words or less?
That's going to go back to thine own self be true.
Yes, ma'am. Let own self be true. Okay. Fill in the blank. The world needs more.
Jesus.
Yes, yes. All right. What is the one thing that
Especially
you're,
right now. Especially right now.
oh, I can't even, yes, especially right now. He's the only one that can help us.
Exactly. And
Uh,
compassion. Let me say, and compassion and under and yeah, compassion
yeah,
and grace and mercy. Because we too hard and we take things too serious. We got to give people grace and mercy. I mean, yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
that's enough. I'm
Well,
sorry. Keep going.
that's okay. We got to extend that grace.
Yeah.
Because of the grace that has been extended to us. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree
I mean,
wholeheartedly.
yeah.
Um, one thing that you're most grateful for in this exact moment.
Being here,
Hmm.
being seen, being here.
Yes, ma'am.
And having the opportunity to share with you. I saw you from when you were a teenager,
Hmm.
and and we had a path together. And then now that you're leading the NAACP, and I mean, it just fills my heart and my spirit. You just don't know, and that you're leading kids. And I remember your baby girl, and so yeah, I'm just proud to be here. I'm proud to be in, honestly proud to be in your presence.
Oh, ma'am, you you were such an example. I remember. I'm going to share this really quick. we were getting the White Glove Award at the restaurant. And so National was there telling us how great we were. And Mrs. Tinsley was in the background telling us what we missed. So, but
Oh, yeah,
but she, there were lessons in that, that you could always do better.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that you could
I
always
haven't
do.
changed. I haven't changed. I'm trying, but I haven't.
Well, listen, don't change. Don't change. You have been an inspiration in the lives of many. So
Thank you.
don't change. God made you who you are so that you could do the things that you did.
Thank
So
you.
um okay, now let me get back on track here. What's your favorite scent or sound? Either one.
Mm, my favorite scent. Mm, that's interesting. Probably, mm, fresh linen.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Yeah, fresh linen. I never thought about that before. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought you were going to say fresh rain because I've had several people say they
Yeah.
like the smell of a fresh rain. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've never really thought about that. But okay, fresh
Okay.
linen. Okay, what belief do you hold that many people might disagree with?
Hmm. That they would disagree with.
Hmm.
You say these are funny questions.
Yeah.
Okay, this is now, you probably gonna cut this out, but okay, anyway, I'm gonna say it. It's because I told you early on I do cuss every now and then. Preachers are my friends, and I love the Lord. And I had my stepfather and my father were ministers. But I said that the Lord gave man the opportunity to name everything. You remember he said, name everything.
Right.
So
Mhm.
I say cussing, it may not be cussing, because man named it cussing. So everybody won't agree with that, okay? All right, so I just had to, I told you you're gonna get me in trouble today.
Okay, we're gonna let that land right there. We're gonna
Right
leave it
there.
right
Leave it right there. Leave it right there.
there. Okay, and the last one. Now this one. Well, let me just say it. What is one uninspired activity that you do just for fun?
Uninspired.
Hmm.
Uninspired. I like I make people laugh. I just
Yeah.
like to say things. What I do like to do just for fun. I like to say what I know is on other people's minds that they're not saying, and so I say it, and then they start laughing. I say, "You laughing at me because you know you're thinking it, and
You-
it's true." And I get in trouble for that a lot. I do, but I like to do that for fun because they're thinking it, and then they say, "Yeah, you're right."
you, yes, ma'am. Okay, all right.
You
See,
didn't
that wasn't
expect
too
it.
bad. I didn't get you in too much trouble.
No, you didn't. Okay, good.
All right. As we wrap up, let's think about this whole interview. What is one message that you hope every listener takes away from our conversation today?
Hmm. I hope that they and everyone listening understands that life will keep lifing,
Mm,
whatever lifing means to them. But we have to keep going because we know the God that we serve, and He promised, and I hope my life is an example of that. That He won't let us down, even when we don't even understand what down or up is.
right.
that we keep
Yes,
on
yes.
going in spite of.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for that. Keep pressing our way. All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Um, do you have any projects, anything you're working on that you want to share with our audience, and or share with them or me? The best way to reach out to you, if you want to be reached out to, I'll put it that way.
Oh,
Uh,
yes, well, right now we're still doing Chain of Lake Achievers, COLA. And in fact, we've taken a whole different twist with it because it's now the Inguzuzaba, which means that everything that's in COLA is you leave your cell phones down, you do all of that. The young people that come in, we have uh, waxed records. Uh, Everything is about who we are and what we used to be. It's the way we were because our kids don't understand. We had a record player going, and one of the kids said, "What's that? I don't know how to play that." So we're taking them back to the basics. I think we as adults have forgotten that our young people have missed out on so much because they're so technologically, uh, you know, so every now and then we need to take them back. The other thing is, with all the things that's happening in the world, that I would like to encourage everyone. I'm with organizations that do that, but I think we as people, we have to speak up and find what what our purpose is in what is happening in this world. Don't We can't just sit back and complain about it. We can't, because everybody has a different opinion. My
right.
opinion is not like yours, and we're supposed to. That's the America we're living in. But whatever you believe in, be able to speak up on it, but be educated about what you speak up on.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what was the name of that your organization again?
A Chain of Lake Achievers, which is called COLA. We call it
Cola.
COLA.
Okay. And how can they? Well, I'm sure they can just in this day and age just Google it. But so it's located in Winter Haven.
It's in Winter Haven. It's eight
Okay.
six three 299 7177. But they can find out more about COLA there. And I'm going to give a plug for what you're doing, and you didn't ask me to. And I know you give your plug anyway, but that's the passion of my life, the NAACP, and what you're doing with the youth. So I'm going to encourage the youth of Winter Haven and all of Polk County to come and be a part of your youth council because that is the foundation of really understanding a lot about ourselves as well as what we can do in our communities. And
Thank
I'm coming myself.
Yeah, yeah, we would love to have you. Absolutely, absolutely. I know one of our advisors, Laurentis, is excited. He was like, "I talked to Mrs. Tinsley. She says she's going to help me." So
Yeah.
that's very exciting, and we would love to have you. Thank you so much for all that you do and still are doing, have done, and still doing. We certainly appreciate you, and we thank you that you followed God's vision and came to Polk County.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And God bless. I
thank
appreciate you, my dear sister.
thank you, thank you. Thank you all for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. And remember, stay inspired.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Inspired Living with Cynthia, your weekly dose of purpose, passion, and perspective. I hope today's conversation encouraged you, empowered you, and gave you something meaningful to carry into your week. Remember, inspiration isn't just something you hear, it's something you live. So take what you've learned, apply it with courage, and keep moving toward the life that's calling you. Until next time, reminding you to stay inspired, stay intentional, and stay true to your purpose. Have a blessed and beautiful week.